All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Memorial Day, and welcome to another edition of Boxed Lunch, coming to you directly from the Fort Worth Community Arts Center today on this lovely holiday. And while I am stuck in the office, I am so glad that I have an opportunity to reach out, I think, to the furthest far-reaching interview we've had yet, and a bucket list of mine for sure, all the way to Hawaii with the one and only multi-talented Dan Corson. How you doing today, Dan?
Good. Aloha.
Ah, aloha, my friend. Are you truly hanging loose today?
Doing my best. It's a
Oh, my
beautiful day
goodness.
over here, so we're blessed. It's awesome.
I could not agree with you more. You are 100% blessed in my mind to be where you are today. Now, I don't know if I can wait till the end of the interview. You graced me with a panoramic view before we went online. Do you mind doing that again, just to again lift
No,
my spirits?
sure.
Oh my goodness gracious. I am just so envious of where you are as compared to this dreary office where I am sitting. Dan, before we get too detailed here, what are your favorite three things about living in Hawaii?
Um, the weather's awesome. And we live on the wet side of the Big Island here. So we always say that it's an amazing place to live, but an unpredictable place to visit. That's because we get rain showers through the day. So we just kind of step inside for 15 minutes and then we go back outside and kind of do the stuff that we can. So we love it. It's very where we live, it's very rural. It's very kind of authentic. It's not the big touristy sort of islands, and we're not in the touristy area. So yeah, it's gorgeous, and we get to grow the most cool plants here that we've ever had that opportunity to do. So we've been big plant geeks to begin with. So to be able to like grow all this like crazy stuff that we've only been dreaming about, it's been really kind of something that has been a great dream come true.
Wow. Are there any, do you have three downsides to living in Hawaii?
It's very challenging sometimes to get things accomplished sometime because a lot of people will make appointments with you, and then if the surf's up, they just show off surfing and they don't show up. I would say that's kind of the number one issue, and that going along with is because it's we're the biggest island, but we don't have a huge density of population. So that means that there aren't a whole bunch of trades. If you need to get something done, you're kind of battling for people to get stuff through, which means you don't piss anyone off because your pool is fairly small. But yeah, we really love it. It's a great place.
Nice. Now, I would be remiss. You are far and away an extremely multifaceted artist. I was looking over some notes in terms of your bio. You have architecture, you have theatrical experience, all kinds of great stuff. Do you mind just giving us just a general synopsis of what it is you have done and what it is you're currently doing now?
Sure. I started out in the theater, kind of designing sets, lights, and costumes, and kind of worked mostly in California and then off in London. And then I came back and decided to get my master's degree in sculpture. So, and from then I jumped into doing kind of large scale public art all around the US and Canada. So that was kind of the mainstay of my professional career.
Wow, yes, and some incredible work too, all over the nation. And am I correct? Don't you also have a piece in Canada?
A couple of pieces in Canada, two or three pieces in Canada. Yeah.
Wow, just some incredible artwork. And again, I took a look at your website, and we'll get into some of this specifically. But I just have to say, it's just so inspirational the way that you blend all of those elements together, and it's just really a sight to see. And anyone that's had an opportunity, I know admires it, and anybody that hasn't, they're certainly missing out. So we'll make sure we get some links and lead people to your work because it is just awe-inspiring for sure. And speaking of awe-inspiring, I see some wonderful food there on your plate. What's on your lunch menu today?
Here at the farm, we mostly grow cacao, but we've got a whole bunch of other things that we grow. We've got about 30 or 35 breadfruit trees. So breadfruit is a fruit that if you use it hard, then it becomes a potato substitute. And if you let it go soft, then it goes sweet. And then you can use it for cakes, cookies, ice cream, and stuff like that. So I'm going to be making some breadfruit tacos today. And yeah, that's on the menu.
Wow. Well, I'm a slacker, but I knew you would come through for me. So today I am tributing my lunch to the wonderful Hawaii and doing my part. And I'm having Hawaiian chicken today. Now don't get too excited, because what I'm doing is I'm using some King's Hawaiian rolls, and I have some chicken lunch meat. So rotisserie, a little bit of Swiss cheese, and some good old-fashioned Hellman's mayonnaise in a little packet there. And I'm just going to continue to wait for that invite to come see you. And hopefully you can give me some authentic Hawaiian food whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds good.
Now, while you're prepping all that stuff up, the pandemic is slowing down. Case counts are doing great. I've heard a lot of interesting things about Hawaii and how that has been dealt with out there, being on an island. Do you mind just kind of bringing us up to speed quickly about how things played out and where they currently stand for you now?
Yeah, sure. So, our island is the biggest island. You can take all the other islands and put it inside of it. That geographically tells you how large it is, but our population is fairly small in comparison to the scale. So we only have, I think, on island 12 ICU beds for the entire island. So we were really, really protective at the beginning about who was coming in here, and we were pretty aggressive in being able to follow people and do the tracking. So in that way, it seemed a little bit challenging for guests that were trying to come in here because we had to go through a series of tests to let them in. But if a cruise ship came and they were all sick, we don't have room for 5,000 people. So it's a big, big problem. Not to mention, protecting the whole community. So right now we are doing really great on the island. We've been having just kind of 0 to 2 cases a day that are kind of with the infection rate. We're about kind of where the US average is as far as kind of what's going on with the COVID inoculations. But we're really doing great. The other thing about Hawaii is it's a very outdoor oriented place. So that is really helpful as far as kind of, it's really hard to catch COVID if you're actually outside. And since so many people are outside and engaging with people outside, whatever could be here gets dispersed.
Well, that is absolutely amazing news. I'm curious more on just a personal level. Have you had any issues with getting the vaccine to Hawaii, being as you're on an island? Has that been a concern for anyone over there?
At the beginning, it was a little slow in getting getting our vaccines, but there's more than enough right now. It was kind of like the rollout in the rest of the US, that they were kind of very slow in getting started. But it's it's all kind of working out great. And certainly we've closed down all of the big centers that were doing group inoculations because people just weren't showing up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now.
Well, good, good. It sounds like things are going well there, and that is very, very exciting news. I think we might finally be on a true path to recovery, and cannot wait till we're able to get back out and do the things we love to do so much. And speaking of that, it is my understanding that the art installation that you have here in Fort Worth is finally underway and making some progress. Um, it is so nice to know that you're now. Now, is it called an exhibition? Is it called an art installation? How does public art define itself?
Yeah, I mean, we consider it an installation and or a permanent installation for that matter, or permanent artwork. So yeah, we're very excited that it's kind of getting installed. There have been a number of hiccups along the way. I think we started the project probably over 13 or 14 years ago, and now we are kind of in the middle of install. So yeah, I mean there was some funding that was lost for the entire project. There was a tunnel that needed to be built. There were like, construction delays, surprise. And, but, once they were able to open up, then we were able to kind of move forward and things are going on. So it's like exciting to see finally.
I know it sounds very, very exciting. I believe it's called Flight. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you can probably say it better than I can, but I believe it is a tribute to the aviation here in Fort Worth. Is that right?
Yes. Fort Worth has a long history of aviation, and I just wanted to kind of draw attention to that. And I was looking at kind of the shape of the mollies, the longhorns, and thinking about how if you looked at them under the certain light, they could kind of have this kind of bird-like shape. So I decided to make a whole series of them that would kind of look like they're flying out in formation. And that formation kind of twists and turns as it's going through the tunnel, and then kind of leaps into the sky afterwards. Now, all those things are kind of white normally during the daytime, and then in the evening, they're going to slowly transform into creating all sorts of different patterns and colors. And those colors will be very, very slowly shifting so that as you're driving by, you won't see anything happening. But when you come back 5 minutes later, it's going to look like something else.
Wow, that's so impressive. And again, I believe it is indeed one of your themes in your work. I hear you mention light. You've got a real knack for day and night. Is that correct? And one of the things that I found so interesting is that it seems to me, depending on when you see your work, it's almost a totally different thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean that's the idea for me, is that the pieces kind of transform from the daytime and nighttime, and also just some of the pieces actually just transform during the daytime as well. And it's not just a matter of shadows. So some pieces are kind of moving and kinetic, and some pieces the colorations on them reflect different colors. So you see literally a whole different sculpture depending on what time of the day or what time of the evening you're there. Right. So that brings me, to the whole idea is, if you are an artist that likes, I don't know, if you're a person that's a commuter and you come to the same place every time, it's nice to provide something that's kind of a little bit different and allows kind of something to look forward to as you're coming into an area. And in that way, it kind of allows us to, take a little bit more, just an awareness of our own environment, right?
Yeah, and you put that so well. It's another theme that you really do approach with intent, and that is the engagement of people as well, and how they perceive the piece. It's not just about creating it. You really do have some forethought about people's understanding of this. And it seems to me you really do work to create an engagement with the public in a lot of your works. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, very much so. And I think that kind of started from my theater background about thinking about uh, artworks not just as an object, but actually as an environment that people move around in. So, I was doing set lighting and costume design originally. And so that idea of like inhabiting a space and being able to kind of move around and see things from different perspectives was something that I wanted to bring into my artwork. So instead of, some of my pieces are kind of a little bit more objecty, but but a lot of them you actually can't see from one vantage point. So the whole idea is you kind of need to move through a piece to understand it, or you actually have to engage with some of the pieces because they have motion sensors that do things to them. So in order to experience the piece, you have to be an active participant.
Yeah,
So
it just, I can't say it enough. There's just some really, really incredible work. Um, what do you consider to be the difference between an environmental site work and your public works? Is it just about the funding, or is there a hands-on, touchable component to the environmental sites as opposed to public art where you may not be able to physically uh, touch and get under the bridge or near the piece? What do you differentiate between those two terms?
So, and this is for me personally. I think that environmental site work kind of has something very specific to do with the environment, with the place, with the atmosphere, with the land underneath, with the history of the place. Whereas artworks in general may or may not bring those sort of elements into it. So for me, that sense of place is important for me into kind of making the piece resonate and land within the area, or have some sort of connection. So that's why I like to incorporate at least some of that stuff into all my projects.
Yeah, well, it certainly shows, and again, I can't say it enough how cool some of that stuff is. So,
Thank you. Thank
um,
you.
now I'm curious. We again, we've talked a little bit off camera, I say. Now, are you currently still creating artwork, or has your focus fallen more to? And I don't want to give it away. I want you to say what it is you're doing now. Are you still dipping your toes in that, or is your current project now your art?
So I'm doing a very, very large scale artwork right now. Um, so yeah, so we've moved over to Hawaii 4 years ago, and we decided at that time that I would kind of take a pause on the artwork, and that kind of this whole thing would be the artwork. So what we've done is we purchased some fallow sugarcane land and turned it into a botanic garden and a chocolate farm. So we grow cacao. We've got 650 trees kind of producing cacao. We've got a botanic garden. We've got all the processing facilities. So cacao is a fermented food. You actually have to ferment it and dry it, and there's a lot of process. You make chocolate. And then we've got a chocolate kitchen, and so we kind of make chocolate. We do agricultural tours. So we share people the passion that we have for all of this, and do an education sort of side where a couple of days a week okay, this is how we grow coffee, and this is how we make cacao, and kind of go through. And what we do is really different than a lot of the other tours. It's a really in-depth 3-hour tour where we kind of go into the nitty-gritty about kind of the nice stuff and the ugly stuff about it. And we also have a couple of Airbnb rooms, so people are able to kind of stay here, overlook the cacao at the splashing dolphins in the ocean.
Man, that's just so cool.
It's a lot of work. So our grass grows 3 inches a day in summertime, up to 12 feet high. So we're like constantly mowing and doing a lot of work. We top all of our trees every year. And so that's taking off 10 feet off the top of the trees. So we have giant, big chipper, and so there's a lot of physical labor, and that was another reason why we decided to move over. You know, being an artist, you know, it's not a very active sort of thing, especially doing large scale artwork like I do. I'm kind of in front of the computer a lot and project managing. So being able to actually get up on my feet and pull weeds and kind of pollinate orchids, vanilla and stuff like that. We do all sorts of different things physically every day, and that's an awesome thing.
Now, I have to ask this, being from the theater world myself, it's extremely apparent that you enjoy the outdoors. Did that come from being locked inside of a theater for years? Because I know I enjoy that sunlight so much when I'm finally allowed or released, if you will, from the darkness of a theater. What led you away from theater and into the outdoor stuff with your artwork?
Oh, that's interesting. So I would say that it was actually a little function of finances. Finances and interest and passion. In doing theater, it was kind of challenging to kind of make enough kind of to live and thrive and do the kind of projects that I was interested in doing. If I was interested in doing kind of Broadway revivals and kind of you know, stuff that was, you know, a lot of musicals and stuff like that, you can actually make a decent living doing that. But I was more interested in doing kind of avant-garde projects, and yeah, exactly. So I was interested in doing kind of other sort of things, and that led me to actually work at a performance art gallery that also had a visual art component to it. And I was learning a little bit about kind of the visual art side of things, and I thought, well, you know, I could somehow kind of merge the two disciplines, and that's kind of how I was led in that direction. And then when I moved up to Seattle, it is, so I was living in Seattle before living here. You know, it's a very outdoor community. So we love being out there and kind of hiking in the rainforests there. Now we live in a rainforest.
Now, you said you went from cold rain to hot rain. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the Seattle thing. We get the drizzle all the time, but here on the wet side of the island, it's very nice because we don't have to, you know, we wear shorts year round. You know, our Levi's, they don't smell so great.
Yeah, wow. You know, I just think it's so cool the way that these different environmental components are such a large part of your work. And I just find it so interesting that you took your work and then created an environmental element with it. Um, you talk a lot about using, and I may missay this, green elements in your works and things. Do you mind just defining that a little bit as what it is you consider to be a green element? I know that you touched a little bit on that with the environmental site work and using the elements around you, but you also try to use those components in the work as well.
Sure. So, you know, we kind of have to think long term about these projects. And so you know, I was working with kind of LEDs well before most people kind of things, and looking at just materials that are going to try to not be as toxic to the environment and will still last a really long time. That's always been important. Looking at kind of lower energy solutions as well. So, I mean, with my new life here at the farm, We are completely 100% off grid. So the whole house and farm and chocolate kitchen is all run on solar. We have our own well that we draw the water from. We sited the land and the way that the plants are grown. We get this rain that happens every evening, so we don't need to irrigate the crops, which is great. And we kind of directed the house so we have the ventilation that captures the natural trade winds. So just kind of trying to kind of keep all those ideas in mind, which of course lowers our overall cost, but it also kind of helps the environment as a whole.
Yeah, it's just so amazing. I'm just so impressed. Anytime, people talk so much about um, the struggles of artists and how we kind of pigeonhole ourselves into being a painter or an actor. And then we just lean into that do or die, come hell or high water. We're either going to make it or break it. And I am just so inspired by the way that you have taken your love of art and just totally, literally and figuratively surrounded yourself with it. What were some of the challenges in tying that together? Your love of the outdoors, your history with theater. What were some of the challenges that you went through to really find your footing and your brand, so to speak?
Um, I think it's hard for any artist to really find their voice. And it took me a little bit of time to figure out what that voice or what that brand was and how it was going to kind of work overall. As artists, we're always a little bit rebellious. And the last thing we want to do is get pigeonholed into doing certain things. So there's always this kind of balance between kind of finding that you're something that you're comfortable with, and that whole idea about you not getting pigeonholed and, oh, I guess I have to do another one of these because this was like so popular. And I can't tell you the number of times that commissioners or kind of arts commissions said, well, we hired you because we loved this and this and this. Can't you just like squish those together and produce one of those for us? Or can't we just like copy this or something like that? And this is what, there's so many things that I love about public art, but I'll tell you my most favorite thing. And that's very egalitarian, that if you show talent and you can demonstrate that you have a vision, the first level of judging, it is completely blind. So it doesn't matter who you are. So if you have the chops, you can kind of rise up to the surface, and if the commissioners are open enough, you can get kind of a couple of those interviews and then show if you really have the chops. And I really love that about public art, where gallery scenes are a completely different beast altogether. Does that answer your question?
It absolutely does, yes. And I'm starting to fall away because it looks like those tacos are coming together, and it's getting harder for me to concentrate because I'm assuming it's going to be a wonder to behold, just like the landscape and everything else I'm finding out today. So what are your secret tips or any ingredients to ensure deliciousness there?
Yes, so I have one new tip that I completely love. Air fryers. Oh my God. We threw out our toaster. We threw out our little tiny toaster oven, and now we just have the air fryer. And they're fantastic for breadfruit. They're fantastic for kind of doing little things. They don't use a whole bunch of electricity. They're like a little blast furnace.
Yep.
And so it's great. We love them.
Wow.
That's my tip of the day.
Well, that's a good one.
I actually love them.
I've moved to the air fryer myself in a couple of different things as well. And it's one of the easiest ways to make oven toast. Now, I don't know if people are familiar with oven toast or not, but there is a huge difference between toaster toast and oven toast.
Oh, so different.
It's one of my favorite things about the air fryer is just tossing that in and getting that great mother's secret recipe there on the toast as well. So how are your tacos coming there? What's your process? I've seen you cutting some stuff up. I see you, looks like you might be throwing something into the air fryer as well.
Yeah, so the air fryer's on. It's kind of frying the breadfruit. I'm just kind of warming some tortillas with a little bit of cheese on them. I have another secret ingredient here, which you probably have not heard of. So everyone's heard of lilikoi or passion fruit, right?
Yep.
So we grow a passion fruit here that's called Passiflora quadrangularis. That's a large mouthful. It's this big. And we actually use it as a vegetable. So I actually pickled these and I'll slice these up on top of the thing. So it's a really thing. We also pickle our green papaya. And this is kind of similar to that. But it's really cool. It doesn't taste like passion fruit, it just tastes like pickle, but it's great texture.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So
here's going.
So many cool things. I'm just gonna wipe the drool off of my mouth here and see if I can even manage to get through this. So so Dan, if you could come back and design one more theatrical show, what would it be?
Oh, now that's torture.
Well, I got to ask the hard-hitting questions.
It might be the Scottish play.
Oh, everyone wants a crack at it. I can tell you from personal experience, it is as cursed as they claim it is. So, Dan, are you ever coming back to the mainland?
So we still have a house in Seattle, and we go back every so often. At some point, depending on kind of the launch of this and the pandemic. And outside of that, we do come to the mainland. We try to come to the mainland as often as we can. But a little thing that you probably don't know about cacao is in other parts of the world, they get 2 harvests a year. Because we get constant rain here on the wet side of the island, we get harvests 10 times a year. So that means we're harvesting every month except for July and August, something that we did not know when we put in the orchard. We were expecting it was going to be more like long gone or lychee or something like that, where you get kind of 1 or 2 harvests a year. But so it's a blessing and a curse. So when we do go, we usually have a tendency to go in summertime, and we're often kind of heading off to Europe to kind of hang out with family over there.
Gotcha. Wow. Do you have plans to make it back down to Texas, Fort Worth, and see the installation once it's done?
Yes, definitely. That's the plan. So I'm not. Uh-oh. Don't let it burn stuff. Excuse me.
It's okay. We can fix it in post. Don't worry about it.
No, it's not burning. It was just perfect. So yeah, we're definitely going to be. I'll definitely come over and we'll do something kind of once it completely opens. And we were always unsure about timing because of COVID, as you can imagine.
Yes.
So I'd like to get it all kind of operational, and then kind of when we'll come over and kind of do a little party.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. And don't rush on my account. You said Airbnb, so as soon as don't be spooked when you see those reservations coming up. And who knows? I may come see you first. So
there you go. That would be awesome. That would be great.
So Dan, what do you got left to do to prep that fabulous lunch?
I'm just seeing how it's coming out. It needs another 2 minutes in the fryer. I should have jumped on that before I actually saw you.
Oh, nonsense. I have questions for days, and I'll try to keep them short so I don't hold you up too much, because it sounds like you either have to go mow or harvest or cover something from the rain. So it seems like time is as important there as it is anywhere else in the world. And I got to be honest, I thought you just got up, had a cup of coffee, and went and surfed all day. I'm learning all kinds of great things. Can you tell me one other thing that people may not anticipate about their dream life in Hawaii?
Sure. So we've just entered termite season. So we have termite seasons here in Hawaii, and they can be very dramatic. We didn't know that when we bought this place, and we actually had a dinner party here. This was pre-COVID, and we were all setting up at the table over there. And then I noticed, all the lights were on, and I noticed this little kind of thing was like flying around. I was like, huh, what's that? And then there was another one. I was like, huh. And then they said, termites. And I'm like, oh, really? That's interesting. And then they said, lights. And I was like, what are you talking about? Well, we looked out at the window. You could not see out the window at all. The whole thing was completely covered with termites. There was no light coming through, and they were all trying to get into the house. It was horrifying.
Wow.
So everyone does, and they only happen from 7:30 to 8:30. That's it. So they have a watch, and it's very convenient that way. So lights out, and then after that, we just play on our phones or whatever. And then after that, we have life like normal. But it's a big deal. And then on top of that, we have lost some major parts of this house due to termites. We've got two kinds of termites. One, which is a super aggressive ground termite that eats through concrete to get to your wood. And it is like taken 6x6 posts and made them into straws. And one was like holding up the whole back of the house. Had I not just seen a little bit of wavy paint on it, it would have been a huge, huge issue. So yes, everything grows quickly here, and we've got lots of things that move quickly.
Now, are the termites seasonal, or is this something you have to deal with year round?
Yeah, no, they're definitely seasonal. So
wow, that's crazy. Well, at least you don't have the cicadas or whatever it is that the East Coast is dealing with. They've got the same thing. They can't even walk outside without stepping on millions. And I guess no matter where you are, there's always greener grass on the other side.
Yeah, and the thing that's you just know it because the next morning you wake up and all you see is wings everywhere. Wow. So it's like, where are all the bodies? I hope they haven't crawled into my wood.
Yeah, I spent some time in Michigan and found out about the ladybug infestation. So yeah, no matter where you are, everybody's saying down here this year in Texas, the chiggers are taking over the world. So I guess we all have something to think about in terms of nature. And it's not just sickness and coronavirus. There's also all kinds of other wonderful things that will be with us long after we're gone. So Dan, it looks like you're plating up there.
Plating up? Are you plating up?
Mine was easy. I snuck around while you were talking about all those glorious things, and it's a holiday, so I took it easy today.
Yes. So breadfruit tacos. There we go.
Wow. Now, what all is in there?
So we've got red peppers, we've got the breadfruit, we've got a fresh salsa with some fresh lime on it.
Man.
And we've got, I was out of cabbage, so I actually used Brussels sprouts, which are julienned, and they worked great. And then I've got a sour cream, lime, and cumin sort of dressing on the top. And yeah, that's it.
Wow, you are Johnny on the spot for sure. And that is just as artistic looking as anything that I've seen you do. And speaking of that, Dan, how can people find you and keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, so definitely if you're interested in checking out the artwork, then you can dancorson.com or corsonart.com. If you're interested in checking out our chocolate world, this is Hamakua Chocolate Farm. And we do a whole bunch of different chocolates and experiences, ag-related experiences. And yeah, it's kind of cool. So the Latin name, the Greek name for chocolate is Theobroma cacao. Theo means God, and broma is food, food of the gods. And the name of this coastline is called Hamakua. Ha means the breath. So aloha is sharing the breath with someone. Hawaiians would greet each other by touching their foreheads and kind of breathing past each other's noses, which was really bad kind of when the white guys started coming in and getting diseases because it was passed on really quickly. Anyway, ha, it means the breath. And Amakua is the ancestral spirits or the ancestral gods. So you would have an Amakua that would be a whale or a shark or something like that. So if you look at Hamakua, it's kind of the breath of God and the food of the gods. We thought it was a nice little combination name.
Wow, absolutely amazing. Now, do you guys have a website? Are you on social media?
All the above. I'm Hamakua Dan. Barrett is Hamakua Farmer, and hamakuachocolatefarm.com.
Well, we're going to look you up, and we'll get some links down in the comments as well. And I'm going to show you my piddly little Hawaiian chicken. Right here it is. And I did the best I could. Again,
where's your pineapple?
Well, I'm at the office. I don't have any. If you want to send me some, there you go. I'll send you my address in a private message. I want one chocolate bar and one pineapple, please.
Awesome.
Dan, it has been a pleasure. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom for all the folks out there watching?
I would say follow your passion. Try to really listen to yourself. And it should be about the thing that somehow is touching your soul as opposed to the thing that necessarily is going to make you the most money. But money's important too. You have to live.
It all matter. Yes. Well, I couldn't have said it any better. And Dan, I am just so appreciative of you taking the time. We can't wait till your installation is all finished up and we get to share it with the world. I can't thank you enough for spending your holiday with me, and happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. And with that being said, this is where we lift our plates and take a little bite. So bon appetit, everyone. Hang loose, my friend, and we'll be back again soon. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Cheers.